Ich möchte mich ganz herzlich bedanken. Solche Veranstaltungen sind nur möglich, wenn viele Menschen zusammenarbeiten. Solche Veranstaltungen kosten auch Geld. Wir sind unterstützt worden für diesen Tag heute im Speziellen durch die SWSG, die städtische Wohn- und Siedlungsgesellschaft, der die Weißenhof-Siedlung gehört. Herr Samir Sidki, kommen Sie doch einfach alle mal nach vorne. Die Wüstenrot-Stiftung, vertreten durch Philipp Kurz, sehr engagiert auch im Weißenhof und in den Fragen, die uns heute beschäftigen, und Wolfgang Riele, die IBA' die uns eben auch teilweise Ressourcen zur Verfügung stellt.
Wir finden und denken, das ist Verpflichtung, dass wir dort eingestiegen sind und kaufen, haben die Weißenhof-Siedlung erworben vom Bund, und so müssen wir mit sehr viel Respekt, aber auch mit sehr viel Gesprächen und Gesprächsgefäßen und Unterstützung von allen Partnern und Stakeholdern dann auch versuchen, in die Zukunft zu marschieren.
Ich glaube erstmal, dass man festhalten muss, dass die Weißenhof-Siedlung in der Vergangenheit und auch in der Zukunft eine lebendige Siedlung sein muss, in der Leute wohnen und in der die ein Stadtbaustein ist. Und das muss eine lebendige, funktionierende Siedlung bleiben.
Wir verstehen diese internationale Bauausstellung nicht als eine reine Fachveranstaltung für Architekten und Ingenieure. Ich meine, insbesondere bei der Zielsetzung der IBA sei es ungemein wichtig, dass die Menschen, die in der Region leben, verstehen, was wir hier tun.
It's a very great pleasure for me to welcome you here at this very interesting space. We all know the name of it, Brenzkirche. I'm still not sure if it's a very good or a very bad idea to meet here to speak about Moderne, which can be translated as modernism or modernity. But we will see the paradoxes of this place and the theme probably during the day. Ladies and gentlemen, we will see today a sequence of short lectures on selected keywords about which our speakers think they are crucial for a debate on modernity.
And here we have the fox and the hedgehog dealing with their environments, which is really structured by that great event, which is the Declaration of Independence and the Ordnance Survey Grid, this kind of the great system that would kind of colonize America well before humans had actually or Western, the kind of colonists had set foot there. They kind of gridded the whole landscape. And within that kind of universal grid, there is actually almost infinite number of occasions for the bricoleur to come to work. And here, LA by Ed Ruscha went out for cigarettes and never came back. The suburbs, the suburban idyll, 1920s house, then kind of subverted by or transformed by Frank Gehry using the kind of vernaculars of commercial construction and leaving it all kind of revealing all of those systems as the kind of the environment itself.
A functionally separated city with its division into public and private spheres is only separated along these dividing lines from a patriarchal perspective, a male perspective. For women who in the modern ideal of the heterosexual nuclear family manage the domestic realm and perform private care work, the home does not equal leisure and retreat, but unpaid full-time work. And the public space, in the form of the car city, that is oriented towards the mobility of the working man, means long distances for women running errands and, moreover, often spaces of fear for vulnerable groups.
So in many ways, this is the point I'm trying to make, is modern architecture. We tend to forget that was also produced somehow under emergency conditions. Not only the 1918 flu, but most important, I think, tuberculosis. Throughout the 19th century and the first half of the 20th century, millions were dying of tuberculosis every year all over the world. So if we think that COVID is bad, that's nothing. 1 in 7 in the planet were dying of tuberculosis, and in cities like Paris it was 1 in 3, right? So we are talking about a major problem. And then modern buildings offer themselves as a prophylactic, if you want, defense against these invisible microorganisms. All the defining features of modern architecture that you can think about, wide walls, terrace, big windows, detachment from the ground, were presented as both prevention for tuberculosis and cure for tuberculosis. I mean, Le Corbusier, for example, in the Radiant City, talks about historic Paris as tubercular Paris. So it's always clearly the rationale for the destruction of the center of Paris is tuberculosis.
We should also reject the notion that incongruities are a problem at all. Whilst many aspects of modernism cease to dominate current architecture, efficiency is still haunting us, albeit in a perverted form that benefits not the users, but property owners. For the future, I believe we should think efficiency not so much as creating ideal spaces for specific users or programs, but as making the best possible use of spaces we already have. We need to train ourselves to understand the capacities of spaces and make those the starting point of architectural interventions. The frictions created by these incongruities and their uses, they will hopefully inspire novel spatial arrangement that none of us could have invented, even if we would try very hard to do so. So here we are again with the foxes and not the hedgehogs.
Great pleasure for me to welcome you to this discussion. We spent the whole day in the church. There was no space for discussion deliberately. And with this evening, we try to recapitulate a few things and try to understand a bit more what maybe happened today. So let's talk about modern architecture and its discontent. My first question to all of you, and I would like to ask each of you, is modern architecture dead, or does it just smell a bit funny?
And I think in that sense, modern architecture is alive. It's alive because we are keeping it alive as long as we think about the question of race, the question of colonialism, all these questions that we raise. Now, I think the question of whether it's dead or it smells a bit funny, I think it definitely smells.
But for me, I think there's a lot of hope still in modern architecture, since I see it when, for example, the Weissenhof, if I go there, it has this kind of, it was mentioned today already, good architecture also has something like music. And when I go there, I have something, if someone would whistle some nice tune, it really makes me a good feeling to go there. And so there is hope. And I think it really depends on the people who deal with it, who live in there and collaborate on giving it the shape.
Thank all of you very much for being here, for sharing your thoughts with us. Thanks for coming here.